Welcome back, collectors, diecast enthusiasts, and heavy equipment enthusiasts. In today's edition of Diecast Emporium, we're going to be taking a look at the classic construction models in 1/48 scale Caterpillar D10 track-type tractor with a push or cushion blade and 3-shank ripper. This is the second iteration or second release of the D10 that classic construction models did. So these are the newer quote-unquote versions released about 5 years ago in 2016. If you'd like to see the other Dozer that came out alongside of this, the other D10, take a look at the top of your screen right now. Right about here-ish, you will see a suggested lip or bubble pop up, and you can take a look at that video. Now, at the time, I could only get one of the two D10s that came out, so this is not going to have a matching serial number like my typical models do, the typical number 53 serial number, but that's okay. Doesn't make that much of a difference in terms of the review video, rather. So we're just going to keep on going. So, one of the purpose-built configurations of the Cat D10 was a cushion blade version, ideal for push-loading a wide array of Cat scrapers. The idea here was to maximize efficiency and productivity. So, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a quick little display or mini diorama on, particularly for the newcomers to the channel, on how this would work with pushing a scraper along and why you would want to have a handy little push dozer around, particularly when you're doing massive earth-moving operations using scrapers. But back to this model for just a minute. As I said, it came out in 2016. Only 400 of this version were made, so a very limited production run. It measures, for all those that care about measurements, listen up, 6.25 inches long, 3.25 inches wide, 3.75 inches tall, and the MSRP of this tractor when it came out back 5 years ago was just shy of $250 at $249.95 US. All right, that covers all the statistical information. Let's go ahead and take a look at the details now. So, this reflects the late 70s, early 80s iteration of the Cat nomenclature and livery, so you will see the Block C, or Pac-Man Cat logo right here alongside your D10. You have Cat here. On the back of the tractor, you have Caterpillar. Very similar over on the right-hand side of the machine. One noticeable difference is you have a nice little addition of a fire extinguisher accessory mounted here on the side of your ROPS. One thing that I love about the second iteration of the D10s, the first version only had a single air cleaner and a single exhaust. The second version has the twin exhaust and the twin air cleaners, and that allows you to see the detail on the exhausts that come all the way down to the side of the engine that's perforated through. Really, really cool. Again, details you really only get to this extent when you're talking about Cat models, of course, on your higher-end CCM pieces, so that looks really good. Cat here on the side. Moving our machine along to the front, once again, you do have a see-through grille with perforation, forward-facing lights, hydraulic lines going to your rams for your blade, Caterpillar up here. Here's a look at your cushion or push blade. Essentially, this is not used to push dirt. Its main purpose, specifically this highlighted piece here, reinforced piece here, square, is to engage the push portion or the rear block of a scraper, push him along, or really, alternatively, to help any other machine that could be bogged down in some loose soil or mud and get him out of a jam. Bringing us back around where we started, some other details that are worthwhile taking a look at. You can see that it has moving rollers at top and on the bottom. You can see the high drive sprocket that has now become synonymous with all Cat dozers, but for those that may not know, it did start out with the Cat D10. Here's all of your tracks that are individually linked. At the back of this version, it does have a 3-shanked ripper, which we can see here. You can't take the teeth out of this version. Here's the hydraulic lines on the cylinders. While I have the machine in my hand, let's take a look at underneath. This is where you'll find your serial number, which is 285 in this case, CCM, and your reinforced arms for your blade. Here again are your tracks, which can be made to move. Again, be a little bit careful when you're handling any CCM pieces, especially tracks. All right, before we continue, let me show you really quick the reprint brochure that comes with it. You can see serial number 285 out of 400, which I just showed you underneath the tractor, attested and signed by Gary Peterson from CCM. Now you'll notice that all of the second releases, whether it be the standard version or the push blade, have a picture of the standard version of the D10 with the twin exhaust. That's how you can tell. Opening this up, you can see the different blade options from the 10S, the 10U, and the 10C. Other information worthwhile, the cat engines, final drives, track roller frames, service refill capacity, all that kind of nerd stuff that we all like to look at and read. At the back, transportability, standard equipment, optional equipment, again, all worthwhile. Copyright 2016, Classic Construction Models. Their website, which again, always worthwhile to check out, ccmmodels.com, and their phone number if you'd like to place an order or a pre-order. All right, back to the model. This does have the open ROPS, so it has a grab handle on each side, grab handle here, grab handle here. Your joysticks, your operator seat is in black. Very simplistic for a machine of the late 70s, early 80s that we all love, and some of us kind of wish would go back to. And that's basically it for the detail, so let's check out the functionality. We'll start at the rear. You can see that the ripper can be lowered to underneath the machine, and it will allow the rear portion of the tractor to be raised. You can see that you can move the tracks and that there is plenty of room underneath. Conversely, you can raise the ripper and also angle it slightly if you want to, just like that. So pretty good range of movement there in terms of rippers, but again, you're not going to really be using a ripper too much on this. Its main purpose is this push blade. So with some care, you can lower it to there, which again is more than needed, or mine, you can lift it up to here, which only leaves about that much of the cylinder exposed, which again is plenty for when you are going to be pushing a scraper, for example. So let's bring our scraper in. Now I know what you're thinking. I know, I can hear you guys talking about it already. The 627K is probably a little bit too small of a scraper to need a D10 to push it along. But this is budget YouTubing, guys. I'm asking you to look past it and work with me here a little bit. So, your D10 would come in and engage, or any push dozer, rather, would come in and engage your push block, or your reinforced portion of your scraper back here. So say he's in a cut, and he is just about full, but maybe he needs a little bit more oomph, if you will. And the dozer would come along, engage, and push both of them along just like this, as you can see. And no, I'm not pushing down hard enough to move the tracks. I'm doing that on purpose. And as you can see, he's now push loading the scraper out of camera view. So essentially, that's a quick demonstration for those that may not know the purpose of this particular setup of the D10 and how it works. And additionally, why the two look great. When you buy a push dozer, make sure you have a scraper to pose it with. That concludes my review of the Classic Construction Model's second release of the Caterpillar D10 track-type tractor. In total to date, there are 4 different versions of the CCM and 1/48 scale Cat D10. All 4 of them are worthwhile additions to your collection, especially if you are a collector of classic construction models, particularly the older stuff. So very worthwhile to try and hunt one of these down. I specifically purchased mine from my friends at Ed's Diecast I believe they do have the ability to find one of these if you are looking to purchase one for yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next review.